Hey everyone, Mike Miller with the Herald Times, joined by IU basketball columnist Jeremy Price, coming to you from Assembly Hall after Indiana's 96-80 win over Illinois. Indiana's first Big Ten win of the season. Looked a little bit better than they did for long stretches on Tuesday against Wisconsin. Looked a lot better than they looked against Louisville. Of course, it's only Illinois, but at this point, again, you got to get that win to try to spin some momentum into this month, and once you get into the middle of the Big Ten season, you got to get that win to snap the three-game winning streak. You got to start somewhere, and Indiana started here with a fairly sizable early run, 15-0 out of the gates for Indiana. They were hitting some threes, they were getting some penetration, just cutting through Illinois zone. On the other end, I think they held Illinois 0 for 8. First 8 shots to the floor for Illinois. Illinois didn't score for the first 6 or so minutes. Really strong start. The start Indiana needed, frankly, was the start they needed a few days ago. But it was absolutely coming off of that Wisconsin game. It was encouraging from an Indiana point of view to see that level of urgency, that level of intensity sustained over an important stretch of time early in this game to kind of set the tone.
Yeah, it was the start they needed, and gives some confidence, some belief that what this team's capable of doing when it puts its mind to it. Sort of the flip side of it was the fact that basically after that 15-0 start, that was pretty much it. That was the difference in the game. There wasn't the rest of the way we were pretty much even. I think Indiana built it as much as 22 in the second half. I'm not sure how much it got in the first half.
It was 22 in the first half.
They got 22 in the first half as well. Wound up 19 at the half. So it kind of was one of those games where there was that good feeling at the start, and then it just sort of never carried through into anything more in a lot of ways. So it was sort of a strange game from that perspective because it felt like Indiana was just going to run away, cruise, everybody was going to feel good, have a good day, that kind of thing. And there was some of that, but maybe not as much as what we originally thought. But this has sort of become par for the course against Illinois here lately. 16-point game is actually relatively close compared to last year. I think IU won by 34 and 26, 27?
Yeah.
Something like that.
Set the three-point record here against them in January, then went to Champaign, just killed them in the second half.
Yeah, Indiana only hit 11 threes today, so, off 13 threes, sorry, yeah. Yes. 13 threes.
And I guess on the flip side of that, too, it was just a really over-officiated game, too. I think they combined for 49 fouls. So, again, too, the fact that Indiana never really put them away outside of the 15-0 start, too, there was just no flow. There was just it was just a game that was kind of just trudging along, frankly, the entire second half. It was, I don't know about you guys who were sitting at home watching, but it was at times just kind of like, all right, let's just wrap this up. This is not going anywhere. We kind of know what's going to happen. Although, again, Illinois did cut it to 9 with about 5 minutes left, but only had one field goal the rest of the way. Thomas Bryant also had a really big three on the other end of that three-pointer for Jalen Coleman lands and cut it to 9 with 5:41 or so to go. Thomas Bryant had a really strong game today. 20 points, 16 in the second half, 6 for 6 from the field, a couple three-pointers. Encouraging developments, especially coming off the way we saw him against Wisconsin.
Yeah, I thought for Thomas Bryant was really the brightest spot outside of the start. I thought that was really the brightest spot for Indiana today, and particularly his role in the strong finish after Illinois had come back and cut it to 9. The fact that he hit that big three, then he had another nice post move underneath. One of several today, actually. Some of the better post moves I thought I've seen all season from Bryant. Had some sort of jump hook looking sort of thing over the left shoulder, one point, and up and under, going back to the left side. For a change, so a couple of different looks there. Had a runner across the lane there late as well, where instead of just sort of winging it up there, a hope and a prayer, he actually got squared up and got himself in a decent position to make that shot. So a lot of optimism there. I mean, Thomas Bryant's a guy you've got to get going, and I feel like this is sort of the theme of the day, is everything comes with a but for Indiana, because as good a day as Thomas Bryant had by and large, especially offensively, I thought he and the rest of the team really exposed defensively in the second half by Illinois, which wound up shooting, I think, 54% in the second half, and most of the second half it was somewhere in the 60s, actually, before they faded late. But Maverick Morgan was having a field day in the post to start the second half, finished with 18 points. I think he had 10 of those in the second half. almost all against Thomas Bryant. So
26, 30 points in the paint, 26 came in the second half. I mean, they were just easy. It wasn't just Maverick Morgan. He was having the day though.
Yeah.
It seems at times so hard for this Indiana team to sustain that defensive connection. Again, you can counter that with the youth of the team, but still, like, it's January. You see it for so long, for the stretches that are the long sustained stretches in the first half, and then it just completely disappears coming out of the locker room.
Yeah, the defensive focus comes and goes a lot with this team right now. I guess just having it to start a game is a step in the right direction. Then keeping it going from there is kind of the next step for this team. The good news today is the offense was more back to its normal self, with hitting, going 13 of 25 from three and things like that, because this team does rely on the offense to a certain point to sort of cover up the defensive deficiencies.
Mm-hmm. And Creaney had spoken a lot about movement. We saw both ball movement and guys, especially against that zone, we saw OG working the baseline a little bit, guys just kind of seemingly knowing where to be and where guys are around them. They had 22 assists and the 29 made baskets. This after combining for 17 across the past 2 games combined. So just generally just a healthier looking offense today for Indiana.
Yeah, well, I mean, when you get James Blackman going with 25 points and you get Thomas Bryant going with 20 points, season high for Bryant.
Rob Johnson was hitting his shots too.
Yeah, Rob Johnson had 13 of his 18 in the first half. Everything looks a lot better. Everything flows a lot better. I thought you mentioned it there. I thought getting OG involved today. OG had 12 points. Alley-oop dunk on the baseline against when Illinois was playing zone and not a very good zone.
Not at all.
That.
Not at all.
And OG had another aggressive take on the baseline. Knocked down a 3 late. I'd still like to see more, but I thought it was a step in the right direction for him as well. So there were enough steps in the right direction, at least individually and here and there, scattered throughout this game for Indiana to build on. And that's, we kind of talked about this going in. You just need something to get things going in the right direction, and I think they got enough things going in the right direction today that there's some potential for the future. Now, whether that carries over to Maryland next week on the road, we'll see.
I didn't see the final score. Did Maryland beat Michigan?
They did.
That game ended right before this one started, yeah. So, and Maryland, again, is very much like Indiana. You can see a couple different versions of Maryland show up at any given point. That'll be a first true road test for
arguably
Indiana.
The first true road game. Technically not the first true road game because Fort Wayne was a road game, but, I mean, let's be honest, that wasn't exactly a hostile crowd.
Not at all. It was
probably... It was in state, so this would be the first true road game
students will
for
be there.
Indiana, and I believe it's the first game out of the state of Indiana since Hawaii.
Hawaii, yeah.
And it's January. It's like the second week of January.
It's a weird season.
Yeah, it is weird.
All right. Anything else you want to touch on?
Nah, I think that was it.
Yeah. They got to win. They got the win they needed. Maybe they can spin this into something bigger as we continue through the month of January. Again, after Maryland, you come back, have Rutgers. Head on the road to Penn State. As we mentioned in this preview video we did yesterday, Penn State's a little tricky. Then after that,
beat Michigan State today.
Yeah, that was a game. And then Michigan State, I think, follows that Penn State trip here. So really, this began a 5-game stretch where, just according to the KenPom numbers, Indiana's going to be favored over these next four games now. We'll see if that changes, but again, this was, at the very least, it could be the starting point, the launching point Indiana needs as it gets into the Big Ten.
And you mentioned, I just real quickly, you mentioned the KenPom numbers. I thought one of the things that was interesting is after today's performance, Indiana moves into being a top 10 team offensively, according to KenPom. But I think they're down to, I believe 91 was what I saw defensively. That's probably not going to work. So
it's not what
probably need to get those two closer together, and preferably from the defense moving up, not from the offense moving down.
So let the offense be terrible. That's what Shannon said.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we will catch you soon. Thanks, guys.
See ya.